You guys want to hear a scary story? Do you remember the scary story I told you guys about with the hands coming out from underneath the bed and the blanket being pulled? This one's even worse. So at the time this happened, I was babysitting for a family, for 2 girls, and they lived in a super like haunted house, high activity, mainly haunted by a demonic entity named Pete. When I say haunted, I mean terrorized, including myself because I was a babysitter and I was there all the time. While Pete was the main entity in the home, the one that caused the most trauma and problems for these girls and myself, there were other malevolent spirits in the home. It wasn't just Pete. Aura, the youngest one, that's what I call her. Oldest one we call Luna, youngest one we call Aura. Aura was having a lot of trouble sleeping. At this point in time, I was experiencing extreme, burnout. Like, I had been dealing with the most insane, crazy paranormal activity, like genuinely terrifying experiences. I was getting scratches on me. I was getting bruises on me. Like, I was terrified to be in this home. The only reason I stayed was because I knew nobody else would, and I did love those girls. But I was constantly, like, not well when I was over there. So I remember this specific night, like, their parents would get mad at me sometimes because I would let the girls fall asleep, like, in the living room or in the same bed because so much scary shit was happening in the home that, like, I didn't want them to be alone. I didn't want to be alone. So this specific night, I remember the mom, like, really laid into me, and she was like, when I get home, like, or when my husband gets home, I don't remember, honestly, who was coming home first, but she's like, when we get home, like, the girls need to be asleep in their rooms, like, no living room, they cannot be falling asleep on the couch, it's interacting with school. And I felt horrible because I wasn't trying to, like, you know, get these kids bad grades or in trouble, but, like, it was literally a movie. Like, The Conjuring shit was happening in this house. So I was trying really hard to, like, get Aura to go to bed. And I even, like, laid in her room with her and, like, scratching her back, like, trying to sing her a song, tell her a story. And she's just not having it. She keeps saying, it's in here, I don't know, it's in here, it's here, it's scary, it's here. And I'm like, oh, God, like, where is it? And normally this thing would hide on the ceiling, so it would be in, like, the corners of the ceiling or in the doorways. I'm being brave, scanning around the room. I don't see anything on the ceiling. I don't see anything in the doorway. So I'm kind of at a loss. I'm like, all right, let's just try and go to bed. And she said, no, it's scary. So I'm like, okay, where is it? What's scary? Like, what would you like me to do? And she looks at me and she points down. You guys already know where this is going. Underneath the... I have PTSD literally telling this story. Underneath the bed. I'm like, no, absolutely, I'm not looking under there. You could not pay me in that moment to look under that goddamn bed. I just was like, no, honey, like, you know what? I don't care if the parents get mad at me at this point. Just come lay on the couch with me. And she said, no, I don't want to get up. And I realized she didn't want to get up because she didn't want to put her feet on the floor because she knew something was under her bed. So gross. Her bed, right? So I finally muster up the courage. I'm like, I'm praying, I'm doing all this shit. Like, I'm a living human being. Like, I have power. Like, I don't need to be afraid. Obviously trying to gaslight myself because I am fucking terrified, okay? And so anyways, finally get the courage. And I get down on the ground, like, knees on the ground first. Like, I'm sitting on my knees. I'm looking up at her. I'm like, I'm going to check. And she starts crying. She's like, no. I just want to, can you pick me up? I want to go out of the room. I don't want to be in here. Just pick me up. And I'm like, nope, I'm brave. Big, tough, brave. 16, I think I was at the time, 17. I think I was like 16, but big, tough, brave 16-year-old. So I'm telling myself. And so anyways, I gather up the courage. I pull up, like, the sheet that was covering the floor. Because you know how, like, the sheet drapes over sometimes under the bed frame. You know what I mean. I gotta pull up the sheet. I take a really deep breath and I yank it open. I don't see anything. You guys don't know how shocked I was to see nothing. So I look up at her and I said, nothing's under there, babe. Like, whew, I'm relieved too. Like, we are in the clear, right? And she's shaking her head and she's not talking at this point. She starts crying. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's not under here. My dumbass, I'm gonna look again, okay? So I look again. But this time, and y'all imagine how this thing was so, like, so twisty. This, like, spirit just knew how to fuck with me to make me the most afraid. Like, I'm convinced under there, after I'm all big, brave, and tough and I didn't see anything, that there is nothing under the bed. So I immediately go to lift it back up again. And I see this spirit. And I want to say it was probably, like, not that high. 2-3 feet off the ground, like the bed frame. There is something upside down. So it's like its hands and its feet were somehow sticking, like, right underneath the mattress to where its head is, like, at a 90-degree angle. Basically how, you know, I'm sitting up right now, flipped. It's, like, attached to, like, the top of the bed frame. And it's looking right. It looked right at me. And this specific thing was god-awful, gut-wrenching, terrifying looking. And I brought up The Conjuring earlier because that's what, you know, when Bathsheba's on top of the thing, that is what this moment reminded me of. I have never been so scared in my life. And I know I say that in a lot of my stories because genuinely when I retell these, I feel like, oh my god, I remember that, and I've never felt that scared. I managed to somehow trigger memory every time of when, like, I can't breathe. Those moments you don't know what to do. Like, you can't breathe, you can't think, you can't rationalize, you can't function. When you are seeing something that is not of this world right in front of you, and it's fucking terrifying, there's just no words on how you're supposed to cope with that or handle it. So I scream, and as I'm dropping, like, I let go of the sheet, it starts running, again, upside down, like, running from the very corner of it to where it was, over to me. I literally did, like, oh, sorry, my eyelash is falling up. Like a pole jump. You know those things where they stick poles in the ground, they, like, yeet themselves? Yeet myself onto her bed. I start hysterically crying. You don't know how much courage it took for me to grab Aura and run out of the room. I did not want my feet to touch the floor. I thought if my foot touched the floor, that I was going to be literally grabbed and pulled under that bed. Like, it was so fucking real and beyond words scary. And she knew the whole time. Like, she's bawling. And when I jumped back on the bed, she grabbed me and she's, like, holding me and hugging me. And I'm like, oh my, you can see this thing? Like, this thing is so scary. I felt so bad. Like, she had the ability to... I would never sleep again if I was her age and I seen Bathsheba looking ass upside down underneath my bed. The parents were mad at me that night, by the way, because I put them in the living room with me and we slept on the couch. I do have more stories about this specific spirit. I only had a couple encounters with it, but if you guys want to hear that, let me know. Bye.
Want to hear something scary? Have you ever heard the creepypasta called "Every Evening Our Family Calmly Locks Our Grandpa in the Bedroom"? Me neither. Want to hear it? This story has trigger warnings for blood, gore, unalive, all of those things I censored, but it is in there, so fair warning. I never really thought much about the lock on Grandpa's door, or how his door was the only one with one. Grandpa had been living with us now for as long as I can remember, and as long as I can remember, every night after dinner, Grandpa would thank my mom for the meal, giving both my dad and mom a tired smile, before he rose from his chair, walking past me, and giving me a tender pat on the head, before moving down the hallway. Only when he got to the hallway did my dad also rise from his chair and follow. No matter what we ate, dinner would always end with the soft click of a lock and Dad walking away from Grandpa's bedroom door. When I was younger, I never questioned it, because it was just normal for me to eat dinner, say goodnight, and Grandpa is locked in his room. But the older I got, the more I started to realize this might not be so normal. I tried to rationalize it with the fact that he was getting old, and maybe they were worried he'd wander out and hurt himself. But that train of thought led to the worry of what if he needs our help and we can't get to him. The latter didn't really become a reality in my head until Grandpa's health seemed to decrease further. The slight clearing of his throat turning into a deeper, harder cough that sometimes left smears of red in the napkin he pressed to his lips. Only then did I start to realize this really didn't make sense. He was old, something could happen, and with the door locked, we wouldn't be able to get to him in time to help him. So that night, when the house went quiet and everyone was asleep, I crept from my room and into the dim hallway, spotting Grandpa's faded yellow door down the corridor. I stepped silently onto the carpet, not sure why, but knowing I'll be in trouble if my dad finds me trying to see Grandpa. I walk up to the door, pressing my hand gently against it, followed by my ear. I listen for a long moment, but hear nothing, and after about 5 minutes of this, I pull back, sighing faintly but not satisfied. As well as being concerned for Grandpa's safety, I need to know why we lock that door every night after dinner. So this kid, I understand his curiosity, obviously, but obviously something is going wrong too. I don't know. The next day, I acted as if everything is fine. I smile at my parents and thank my mom for breakfast as I watch my grandpa sit in his rocking chair reading a book with one hand and petting the cat with the other. Only when my mom goes out to run errands and my dad shuts the front door to mow the lawn do I move. My grandpa isn't paying attention anyway, so I walk past him and down the hallway, making a turn into my parents' bedroom. The sunlight filters through the windows, and I glance around trying to find something to help me. I kneel down, looking under the bed, behind the pillows, in the closet, and even behind the old clock, but I find nothing. Disappointed but determined, I turn back to the bedside table, opening up the cupboard and moving the remote and my dad's watch to the side. I'm about to shut it when the bottom of the cupboard rattles oddly. I pause before pressing harder, and the bottom falls back, revealing a small compartment with the skeleton key. I glance to the door before picking it up and stuffing it in my pocket. That night at dinner, we have spaghetti and meatballs, one of my grandpa's favorites, but he doesn't even touch his food. He sits staring distantly down at his plate before slowly looking up and smiling weakly at my parents. "Thank you for taking such good care of me," he says, and my dad nods curtly, not meeting his eyes, but my mom places her hand over his, neither of them speaking. A few more moments of this pass before Grandpa pushes up slowly out of his chair and my dad follows. Grandpa pats me on the head with a light smile before turning and walking down the hallway to his bedroom, the lock softly clicking in place as my dad makes his way back. This is a fair warning. This is the part where it starts to go downhill, so. I wait about an hour after everyone goes to sleep, not wanting to go out there and be caught. But once the house is completely quiet, I sneak out of my bed and into the dim hallway, walking over to Grandpa's door. I reach up, carefully pushing the key into the slot and turning it. At first, there's a slight resistance, but then a soft click. My other hand comes up, and I push the door open enough to slip through before closing it behind me. Grandpa's room is dark, and I spot him sitting on his bed, propped up, and his eyes closed. I step forward. "Grandpa?" I ask quietly, and after a moment, his eyes start to open. When he spots me, he makes a soft sound of deep despair. "You shouldn't have come in here," he says brokenly, and as I go to ask what he means, a soft crack emanates from him, and he starts to lean back. At first, it looks like he's just stretching, but he keeps leaning back, further and further, until the points of his ribs show clearly under his shirt and his mouth opens, followed by another faint pop, and it falls open further than should be possible. His chest starts to convulse. At first, I think maybe he's having a seizure or something, so I go to step forward and help him, but then something starts to sprout from his mouth. Long red tendrils push past his teeth and over the sides of his lips, before snapping upright. I immediately am filled with terror, because this isn't a seizure. I have no idea what that is. I turn on my heel, lunging for the door handle, and right as my hand brushes it, I'm slammed down onto my face as I feel something cold grab my ankle in a bruising grip. Before I know what's happening, I'm being yanked back from the door. I scream, clawing at the ground, kicking as hard as I can. "I'm sorry," I hear my grandpa whisper, broken and gurgled, before his eyes fully roll back. As I'm pulled towards the bed, my hand grabs the leg of his desk, holding on tightly, before that too snaps, pulling me back further. As I'm pulled past my grandpa's bed, and starting to be yanked upwards, the only thing going through my mind in that moment is that I'm finished. And right as that truth is about to become a reality, the bedroom door slams open. The bedroom door slams open so hard it's almost thrown from its hinges, and my dad stands there, crowbar in hand, eyes wild and distraught, before he surges forward, raising the crowbar and bringing it down on the tendril wrapped around my ankle with a thundering crack. The tendril immediately pulls away, causing me to fall onto the hardwood floor with a thud, and I scramble away. Grandpa is shaking now, so badly I fear the bed might break under the strain. Another tendril shoots for me, and then another, and another, and another. My dad is hitting them, trying to make them stop, but it's no use. I cry out for him as he stops trying to hit them and looks down at me, something distant and pained in his eyes, before he slowly turns back to my grandpa. I am putting another warning, right here. If you don't want unalive, whatever, all of that, scroll away. His eyes are completely wide now, and he's bending so far back, his back is almost in half. My dad raises the crowbar over his head, and I close my eyes, as a wet crack sounds through the room, and the tendrils slowly pull away. When I open my eyes, my dad is covering Grandpa with a blanket, something red smeared over his face and hair in the dark moonlight. My mom is standing at the door now, unshed tears in her eyes. I watch her, expecting her to scream or cry or mourn her father, but all I see is fear. This unsettles me further, because what else is there to be afraid of? The next few hours are a blur, but as the sun comes up, before I know it, it's going down again, and I end up at the kitchen table with a cold cup of tea in front of me as I blankly stare into it. My mom sits down a plate of mashed potatoes and gravy, but it sits in front of me untouched. My dad sits across from me, his gaze also distant, and a few flecks of red still stuck in his hair he couldn't quite wash out. Dinner is silent, both my mom and dad eating without a word. They don't explain, but then again, I don't ask, not wanting to know the answer as to what just happened. As the sun sets over the horizon, my dad slowly stands, giving me a tired smile and tenderly patting my head. "I think I'll head to bed," he says, barely audible, and as he steps away from the table and heads into the hallway, my mom suddenly rises as well. I don't look at either of them as they stand, and I just choose to stare down at my food instead. The house is silent and unmoving, but that's when I hear the bedroom door shut with a soft thud. I finally decide to raise my fork to eat. But I pause when I hear the soft, echoing click of the bedroom lock.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Japanese 10-day dream curse? It's one of the scariest Japanese urban legends I've ever heard, and once you hear about it, you will be cursed to experience the 10 days of dreams, so you have been warned. On the first night, you will dream that you are in your bedroom, in your bed, just trying to sleep. Then you will notice a girl looking at you through your window, like that window right there. There's a rule for each night of this ritual curse, and the first rule is that you must let her into your room. On the second night, you will once again dream that you are in your bed, just trying to sleep. Only this time, you'll dream that the girl is in your room with you. She'll have long hair covering her face so you can't see her clearly, and she'll start saying something really softly. If you listen closely, you'll realize that she's whispering, "Please, please," over and over again. The second night's rule, you must allow the girl to lay down in the bed next to you. On the third night, when you dream that you're in bed trying to sleep, the girl will be in the bed beside you. This time, her hair will no longer be covering her face. It's said that her face appears to be badly burned. So the third night's rule, gaze upon her face and make no sound whatsoever. On the third night, you're still in your room, still in bed, but this time the girl whispers to you, "Let's go to the park." And so, the fourth night's rule, you must take her to the nearest park. Also, you still cannot speak or make any noise. This is very important. On the fifth night, you're halfway done, and you'll dream this time that you are no longer in your room, but at the park with the girl from the previous dreams. Upon your arrival to the park, you will see two figures. One person is pushing a stroller with another person inside, except they're not people at all. One is a cat and one is a dog, and you must choose which of them to destroy. And so the fifth night's rule is that you must either destroy the cat pushing the stroller or the dog inside of it. It's getting weird, I know. On the sixth night, while you are at the park with the girl, you will see that there is an airship about to take off. The sixth night's rule is to board the airship before it takes off and do not fail to take the girl with you. On the seventh night, you'll be on the airship with the girl. It's also full of passengers, all of whom have heard this story just like you have. The seventh night's rule, find a seat on the airship no matter the cost. On the eighth night, you'll still be on the airship with the girl and all of the other passengers from the night before, and you will dream the black and red roses start to fall upon you. The eighth night's rule, throw only the black roses overboard. On the ninth night, you will dream that the airship docks in the same park that you took off from. For the ninth night's rule, you must get off of the airship, leave the park, and go back to your room. get back into your bed and allow the girl to lay beside you. You will only know what happens on the 10th night if you have faithfully followed all of the rules and instructions from the previous 9 nights. If you break any of the rules or don't follow instructions, you'll be transported back to the first night and kept on a loop until you complete the ritual. I was looking everywhere and nobody's posted any stories about what happens on the 10th night, so I guess it really is a secret unless you've done the ritual. The 10th night's rule: while you are awake, not in the dream, you must share this story with someone else. Now that you've listened to the story, you are cursed to experience the dreams yourself. But if you want to avoid it, share the story with someone else. Sweet dreams.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Imagine going to a wedding full of people only to realize that these right here are not humans like us, and you're basically trapped in a room full of jinns. That's exactly what happened to this woman right here. Her name is Nora, aka the Beyonce of Kuwait. Yes, this story takes place in Kuwait, by the way. Nora was basically a famous singer there, okay? Her and her band used to sing traditional stuff in weddings. Another way to say it, she was like a celebrity there, okay? You call her for your marriage, she comes, she sings, and then she leaves with money. You're probably like, okay man, this sounds like an amazing job. I mean, imagine going to a marriage, having fun, people recognize you, people are a fan of you, and you get money for singing a couple of songs. No, it was amazing until a terrifying thing happened to her and made her quit her job and be traumatized forever. Now, before I tell you what happened, you know what to do. Save this video and come back to it at night so it's more enjoyable like that. One day, Nora got a call. She was like, man, should I pick up? I don't really work today. You know what? Let's pick up the phone. Hello? Oh, the person calling her was a woman, okay? And she basically said, hello? Is this Nora? The famous Nora? Oh, Nora basically responded, oh yeah, thank you so much, that's me, the famous Nora, yeah. The woman on the phone basically said, oh my god, thank you so much for responding, everybody loves you here. Can you please show up to my daughter's wedding tonight? This is when Nora responded, oh, I'm sorry, like, I don't work today, I'm really sorry. The woman on the phone started begging her, okay? She was like, please, this is my only daughter, can you please show up tonight? She loves you so much. When Nora heard this from the woman calling, she was like, oh my god, these people are annoying. Okay, you know what? I'll make an exception for you. I want to see your daughter happy tonight. So, Nora ended up accepting, okay? The woman gave her the address and she told her to come, her and her band, at 10 p.m. Well, Nora and her band finally made it to the house at 10 p.m., okay? And before even entering, Nora was like, okay, I'm sorry, I did bring you here, but come on. I know that nobody works today, but we gotta do it for the love of the game. Her band basically responded, oh, come on, don't sweat it, Nora. You know, we want to make people happy, right? It's only a marriage after all, right? Nora and her band finally made it inside the house, and the first thing they noticed is that the house from the outside looks normal, right? But from the inside is something different. The house was really bigger than they expected, okay? And the decor was really noticeable, okay? Somebody did their job on the decor. You know, Nora and her band were amazed. They were like, wow, this is by far the biggest house we'll perform in. While the band was examining the inside, the woman came. Remember the woman who told her to come here in the first place? The woman who begged her to show up for her daughter, blah, blah, blah. Yes, she came. She was like, oh my god, Nora, I'm a big fan. And you know, she wanted to shake her hand. When Nora saw her, she was like, oh, what's up? How are you? Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. This is your daughter's wedding? Yeah, I'll tell you, it's about to be amazing. She shook her hand. Nora noticed something, okay? The woman's hand were dry, okay? And it was not moving. You know how humans' hand move? Her hand was not moving, and she could feel her bones. When she felt that, she started having a little doubt, okay? She was like, okay, I've never seen something like this before. I mean, okay, you know what? I'm not judging. And she was not trying to scare her band either. So she was like, okay, to the woman she was speaking, she was like, where do we perform? The woman responded, you see, we love you so much. We do appreciate you so much for coming. So we prepared everything. You do perform in that corner over there. You see it? Yeah. Oh, Nora responded, oh, okay, that's really sweet. You know, thank you so much. Yeah, let's go over there. Yeah, okay. See you there. In this corner right here, Nora and her band started performing, okay? And what a performance. Everybody was loving it. Everybody was shaking their heads, vibing like, Nora and her band, while singing, they were feeling the energy. They were like, yeah, okay, that's what we're talking about. That's the type of vibes we like. You know, See, while singing, Nora noticed a detail that she could have noticed from the beginning, but she didn't for a reason. It's almost like it was hidden from her. Why is everybody dressed in old clothes? Well, nobody was dressed in the typical wedding clothes of today, if you know what I mean. Everybody was dressed like the 17th century. So Nora was like, what the hell is going on? Nora told herself, okay, that's weird. You know, she kept singing. She was still giving some side eyes, but you know, she kept singing. I don't know the song she was singing. I wasn't there with her, but she was singing something like, I'm a lot ashamed. What? I'm a lot ashamed. Let me sing. See, meanwhile Nora was singing, one of her band members started tapping her shoulder. And you know, she's trying to communicate but sing at the same time. She was like, the band member who was trying to get her attention was the one playing guitar, okay? And he was like, look at their legs. Look at their legs. Nora was like, what do you mean their legs? Shape of head. This is what Nora saw. Goat legs, and she understood that from the beginning she was not with humans. Yup, she's singing with jinns. If you don't know what a jinn means, scary creature, I talked about him in my first post, go check it out. But when Nora saw this, she was in shock, but she kinda knew that something was wrong from the beginning, you know? Remember when she shook hands with the woman who invited her? Yup, in that moment she felt that something was not right. Nora and her band kept performing, okay? They were not trying to get suspicious, but you know, their voices kept getting low, and they started thinking about this. Those are jinns, but they're in human forms. And you know, while thinking about this, they noticed something. It's midnight. One of her band members was like, hey yo, Nora, we should go. The vibe switched up, it's not the same anymore. These things right here are not even dancing, they're jumping and making weird noise. It's scaring me. You know, it's midnight, we should go. He said all that keeping his voice low. It doesn't matter because he's playing an instrument so nobody's hearing him. Problem is, in Nora's case, she can't talk, she's literally singing. And this is where she had to step up, talk to some of the jinns and told them that we should get a break. Oh, the woman who invited her in the first place, the jinn, came and she was like, Nora, I heard that you want a break, is that true? Nora basically responded, yeah, it's hot out here. And you know, we're kind of tired, so can we go in that room, please? Rest for about 5 to 10 minutes and then we'll come back. Jin basically responded, yeah, you can go. Now the band went to a small room, closed the door, and they're finally isolated from the rest. This is where Nora was like, nobody is getting out, I don't care. You see these creatures, they're turning crazy right now. It's past midnight, so they're turning crazy. Nobody's getting out unless you wanna. Band members basically responded, bro, do you want us to be stuck here forever or what? We should get out. Nora basically responded, look, the woman invited me at 10 p.m., right? I don't think that's a coincidence. She invited me because she can only show up in this form at night. Look, what I'm trying to say is we pretend to be playing and singing until the sunrise. Once the sun rises, boom, we get out. We don't look back. Now, the band came back to the main room and they are forced to sing and play instruments. But things kept getting worse. Because some of the jinns not only started making weird noises and jumping, they started tearing their hair with a part of their scalp and throwing it down on the floor. Imagine the band playing, seeing, being forced to see all this stuff happening in front of them, but they can't do anything about it. Now, they kept playing for about 5 hours straight, and some of the band members started feeling sick and they started throwing up, you know, after all they saw. You know, as soon as the clock hit 4 a.m., meaning sunrise, every jinn stopped. They literally stopped moving. After that, they stopped moving, the lights started turning off, and the place started falling apart. This is where Nora was like, okay, this is our sign to go. After a long run in the hallways, they made it. They got out from the house, and this was the house. If you didn't notice anything yet, hold on. This was supposed to be the house they were in. This is what they saw at 10 p.m. This is where they left at 4 a.m. You see the difference? They left and they were all this time in an abandoned house. What happened is that the jinns basically gave them the illusion that they were in this house right here. But the bands kept running in the streets just to make sure that there is nobody after him. And you know, after running for a while, they saw somebody. That somebody basically asked them, why the hell are y'all running? Is this a marathon? Or like, I don't. Nora and the band were like, whoa, don't talk to us. We know that you're a jinn. Stop talking to us. So that somebody basically responded and he was confused. He was like, what? What the hell are you all talking about? Nora and the band members realized that he's normal, he's a normal human being, and they were like, oh, okay, he's on our side, don't worry. No, they started explaining to him what happened to them in this house. After hearing their story, he said something crazy. He said that this house right here has been abandoned before even he was born.
This is a scary story about I'm Sorry Mommy. One night, a woman was in the kitchen reading a newspaper when she suddenly looked up and saw her 6-year-old son staring at her. She said, something wrong, dear? I had a nightmare, said the boy, and I can't sleep. Well, don't worry, you're safe now, said the mother. I dreamed I was in bed and heard a sound in Daddy's room, he said. And when I looked in the door, I saw 2 big black things with white eyes. It came out of the closet and it attacked Daddy. Don't worry, said the mother in a soothing voice. It was just a dream. It didn't really happen. The boy then continued saying they ripped him into pieces and then ate him after. And they even licked the blood off the floor. I thought if I ran away, they wouldn't catch me. But they did. They were going to eat me, but they stopped and said, they wouldn't eat me if I promised to... To what? Said the mother. Promise to distract you while they creep up behind you. I'm sorry, Mommy, said the boy as the mother heard the floorboards behind her creak. The boy then watched with enjoyment as his mother was ripped apart piece by piece, with a giant smile on his face.